Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Your Story. I'm your host, Todd Nesloney, elementary principal in Texas, and every week I seek to bring you guests whose stories or life experiences have inspired me, challenged me, intrigued me, and bring them in front of you to amplify their voices. I am so thrilled this week to welcome my guest, Matthew Goins. Matthew, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Hi, Matt Goins. The basic information is I'm a husband. I'm a father of three children, young children. Their ages are 5, 3, and 1. So I have three toddlers running around the house. I'm also a native son of Detroit. I consider myself a child of Howard University and a child of God. So those are kind of the primary things that I would like people to know about.
That's awesome. Well, Matthew, I found you and what you do through Instagram. And so you have created I guess would company be the right word?
I like to use small words instead of big words. So yes,
A small business.
I have an initiative, a set of products that I've been able to create.
Yes, and you've called it Puzzle Huddle. So why don't you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about what you've done with that and where
So
that even came from?
in the process of having three kids, right, so back to back to 5, 3, and 1, so we have three kids fast.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking for different ways to interact with them, how to play, engage them in learning, and just have family time. And one of the things that I found that they were really into and that I enjoyed as well was manipulating and putting together jigsaw puzzles. We bought along the way dozens and dozens of puzzles because as a new parent, it's hard not to go be excessive. So we bought a lot of puzzles, and in that procurement process, in that purchasing process, and that experience, somewhere along the lines, I noticed that there was just an extreme lack of diversity in the puzzles. You get your big media properties, so you get your Disney, Nickelodeon, Pixar, but those aren't necessarily known as diverse platforms where you're going to get a lot of diverse characters. So in that discovery and looking at just wanting better, more connection with my children and their toys, I just thought, gosh, there's got to be something that I could do to put ethnic characters, brown skin characters in the puzzles in front of my children so that as they're playing, they can kind of have a mirror image of what they see in some of the toys that they're playing with.
And as an educator, so often right now the conversation is making sure that the literature that we introduce to our students has diverse voices and characters, and the posters that we have around school. But I never even thought about something as simple as the characters on a puzzle either when it comes to the kids being represented and being able to see themselves on a puzzle. So when you noticed that these puzzles didn't exist, how did that lead you to you wanting to start creating your own?
Well, the first phase, because I didn't start wanting to create a company. That's not. I wanted to put diverse puzzles in front of my children. So I thought I need to look harder. So I thought I would dig deeper into Google, dig deeper into Amazon, and that would just yield some discovery along the way. But after page number 30 in the Google search, and learned that once you get to page 30, you've kind of scanned the globe to find the tools that you want, and they just didn't exist. So I set along a path to, and in the early stages, I was just thinking about my kids. So the solution was that I was going to cut jigsaw puzzles out of cardboard. I bought some foam boards, some mat boards. I was going to spray glue some pictures on the cardboard, and I was just going to cut a jigsaw pattern, stenciling in with a marker or ink pen, and I was just going to cut a pattern in, and problem solved. That it's not really a good idea. You can't. You're not going to do a good job making a jigsaw puzzle out of cardboard.
They don't last very long, do they? Like that.
It's flimsiest. In fact, I was so proud of them and excited, but then I would at the same time be extremely nervous to watch them play with them because they were just flimsy. So they would play with them and I would be excited but scared because they were also ruining them as they played with them. And this was a lot of hours of work to watch them slowly bend the corners on every little piece that I spent hours making. So that solution didn't hold up. And the best way to make a puzzle is really through a commercial manufacturing platform. So 8 iterations later, we finally found a manufacturer that will partner with us, and we started to create commercial quality puzzles.
Now, do you still have a full-time job, or has this become your full-time job?
Yeah, so we're home-based business, so the whole thing happens between my living room, dining room, the kitchen, laundry room, and garage. So that's headquarters. That's all the fulfillment, inventory, shipping, supplies, and then my wife and I both work full time, so we're both outside of our home during the day, and then the puzzle project company initiative kind of happens once the kids go to bed. So starting at about 9 o'clock at night till until 6 ish in the morning. That's how to pull it off. So that all the order packing, email responses, social media, that's our window to do it.
You
But
know,
we love it. We love it. It's actually exciting.
that's what I was going to say. That's how you know it's a true passion project. Is that you go and work all day to put food on the table, but then you come home and get to serve your hearts and get to I loved how you say it's after the kids go to bed, so you still enjoy that family time, you still keep that semblance of normalcy, but you and your wife are clearly passionate about this. If you're up till all hours of the morning making this happen, when you were creating these iterations of these puzzles until you finally got to one that you were proud of, did you ever find yourself sitting there going, okay, I'm never going to make a puzzle that I like. Am I really meant for this? Like, did you ever get into that mindset of maybe this isn't what I'm meant to do?
Yeah, there were lots of significant mistakes along the way. The first puzzles I made started with the cardboard paper ones. To the next ones were very tiny because we were trying to afford, self-funding this. So the first puzzles were 4.5 by 6. So we're taking like a postcard size puzzle. I was sticking them in like snack bags to sell them inside of an envelope. I didn't even have boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't something that was scale, right? You can't sell postcard size puzzles to the world and think that is the format that they're most interested in. And then we had a couple bad designs. I paid illustrators, in some cases, hundreds of dollars. And the artwork that I got back was just not sufficient.
Right.
And with no real great way to reconcile the difference, you just kind of take the loss on the commission and you save some more money or something that just start again.
And I've seen your products and they are like top notch. They look gorgeous. Was there a moment where you finally felt like, hey, I know there was. When was the moment where you finally felt like we've got something really special here?
Yeah, well, even the earliest versions, because the images is what matters. So the quality of the product needs to catch up with the vision. But just even in the early phase, like our very simple 12-piece postcard size puzzle, even that, some of the emails that we would get written in response would be, for a kid to open the toy and their reaction to be, wow, this toy looks like me.
Right.
Like that's priceless, even in the most simplistic format, without the complexity of enhanced manufacturing and the scaling. It's even at the postcard 4.5 by 6 inches to get that reaction out of the kid. That was kind of a signal that we have to figure out a way to make this work, even though it's not apparent right now how to make it work. We have to figure it out because this reaction is what every kid deserves to have.
Yeah, I love seeing the images of little girls as astronauts or doctors or all these things that I'm like, this is why it's so important for our kids to see themselves in everything for us. And that goes, and I'm speaking from an educator perspective, but as an educator, I believe it's our responsibility, especially those of us that tend to be afforded more liberties in our lives, whether that is through our skin color or our socioeconomic status. But we have to speak up and raise up these little small businesses like your own to show the power that lies for when a child sees themselves for the first time in something that, me as a white male, I've completely taken for granted the fact that all the puzzles I grew up with playing with either had animals or characters that look like me. And so I think it's such a cool thing that you're doing here. Seeing this come to fruition, what is one of the most powerful stories that you've heard from a customer or a kid?
There's so many, and I get that direct quote quite a bit. That and the quote comes from the parent because we're not in the home for the unboxing. But we get by the dozen parents that write us back and say that this puzzle looks like me. But what's really inspiring is sometimes when I see when people send images in social media, when I see the puzzle in play next to a child, there are lots of times where that child looks like that doctor. The person playing with the puzzle looks like the character in the puzzle, and it's soft and nuanced, so it's not they're not identical twins, but the essence of the ethnicity and the skin tone is very similar, and the lips and the nose and the hair, and it's to watch a kid play with a doctor puzzle, and that doctor kind of looks like the kid. That's an amazing experience to see that happen. And it's not that we didn't draw this kid. The kid, it looks it's a dead ringer. They look like the same.
Yeah. Now, did you ever, growing up or in the years before starting this, ever see yourself as being somebody who was going to start their own kind of little small business thing out of their home?
No, I had a couple little entrepreneur excursions as an adolescent, and that was selling blow pops and sour patch. I even scaled into a paper route that was another failed venture. None of these, and the paper route was a big disaster because the system for collections back in the 80s was you had to go knock on doors to get the checks to. So that wasn't a very profitable experience for me. Neither were the blow pops, but I tested, and I didn't think of it as entrepreneurship at the time. It wasn't an intentional motivation or drive to be an entrepreneur. I just thought I could sell something and maybe make a quarter in the deal. I could make $5 today if I sell it on blow pop. And whatever a kid does with $5, buy McDonald's or a video game. Put it towards the accumulated cost of one day being able to buy the video game of their choice. Was all that I was interested in doing with the money. But so looking back, sure, I had a couple entrepreneurship initiatives, but I wasn't thinking of it as that.
So what's your ultimate goal for Puzzle Huddle?
Well, we would like to do, so we're very small, and so there is some awareness, but we're not at complete and full awareness among who might be our target audience. So just continued effort and energy and marketing to create more awareness and make sure that people that might be interested in our products are aware that they exist. Secondary to that is diversifying our product line so that we're covering more and more career areas. So we kind of started STEM, but we want to cover the arts, we want to cover service careers, and we want to cover just even more aspirational images, and then more nuanced diversity. So my household is African American. That was the core, the nucleus of where we started. But we want to make sure that we're covering Indian and Native American and Hispanic, and then some of the nuances within African American, and Caribbean, just some of the Black diaspora, and some of the variation that exists even among brown skinned people. It's not all homogeneous. There's browner skin, and then there's lighter skinned, and there's tighter hair, and there's looser hair. And there's lots of different things to capture and make sure that it gets closer and closer to home for different populations.
I love that. Now, has there been any negative reaction to what you're doing?
Sure. I imagine anything that you do that's interesting, the whole world doesn't agree on much.
Right.
Yeah, any image produced, you make an intentional choice. A decision to do one thing is a decision not to do something else. So if the character has locks instead of an afro, if the character is this color brown versus this one, there's always if you did something, there's a thing that you didn't do. Right. Of course. All things. But that's great. We love the tension. I love to hear about, well, why don't I have this and why don't I have that?
Now, the question for that then is, sometimes when we are doing something that's so passionate to us and so close to our hearts, and we get those kind of comments, it can be really degrading, and it can be really frustrating where you're like, this is my heart on a page. Please don't just destroy it. How do you, when you hear some of that negative pushback, how do you not let it bring you down?
Well, first, thank goodness that somebody cared to perceive whatever they saw associated with my business and had enough energy in them to have interaction with it. So thank goodness I made enough noise to get a reaction.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So there are moments where my feelings get hurt, but sure, if I go to sleep and I wake up and it's another day, I'm easily able to respond. Thank you so much for your feedback. We love hearing from you. We'll work harder on the comment that you described, because there's just so many things to do. If you cover the entire wide world of what people consider diversity, because it's a very democratic term. So in that you need to cover disabilities, and you need to cover albinoism, and you need to. There's just so many things that you spend a lot of time getting to all of them. So we bump into the person whose thing we have not had an opportunity to cover it, and they share that with us, and great. Thank you for letting us know, and we'll keep working at it.
I love that. I love that so much. So what is your ultimate goal with Puzzle Huddle? I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit, but like what I'm saying is, do you eventually see this becoming a full-time thing? Is that on your radar?
It's hard to say because it's all very thin now. It's self-funded, very thin in terms of profitability, if at all. This isn't something that's just generating income, or it's not generating income for my household at the moment. So to imagine the full-time version of it is a bit distant from what I'm experiencing right now. But we're just scratching the surface. So there's lots of things we can do with schools and with partners, and providing a broader educational platform, and then a range of products associated. There's lots of information I can layer on related to career development and career interest and career exploration to just create more interaction and support for this type of thinking. So there's lots of things we could do. I try not to start all of them. It's very easy to. Well, we need to put dolls, and we need calendars, and we need flashcards, and then you have a garage full of things, not focused on selling any one of them particularly well. Right. So yes, lots to do, but also at the same point, trying to keep it simple and just do one thing for now.
So where did the name Puzzle Huddle come from?
You know, I was I got very excited about the product idea. Now, I didn't like walk in the park or in the woods one day and an idea for a company name didn't come. So I had the product. I said I need to get my puzzles listed on the internet and for sale. I need to call them something. So quite a bit, maybe to some degree in a rush, because we wanted to get started. I thought Huddle was in a concept of family gathering, people circling around, togetherness, quality time. That's kind of where the Huddle framework came from. But it wasn't, I didn't get struck by lightning and come up with it. This is the company name, and I knew the product, and I needed a company name to associate it with it. So to some degree, in a rush, Puzzle Huddle was the best idea in 48-hour brainstorm.
I love it. So if I have listeners or viewers who are intrigued by this conversation and want to get more information, where would you send them?
So our website, puzzlehuddle.com, and the way I help people that it might, if it ever comes up as a tongue twister, huddle, if you think football huddle, so puzzle huddle, guys circle around, or gals, if the people circle around, is a huddle. So Puzzle Huddle website, we're very active on Facebook and Instagram. So if you want updates, information, to get a view of just all the things we're sharing related to literacy, profiling teachers, and career role models, we do all of that stuff on social media. And we try to make it more interesting than just the puzzle of the day. I like to share, I like to feature teachers and professionals and try to tease out from them what they thought was important, looking back for a kindergartner that might want to extend into that career field. What a kindergartner would be interested in that's aspiring to be a doctor, how to help bridge that gap from kindergarten to med school. So it's not a literal, attempt to streamline someone in the medicine, but what are some fun things that are biology related that a kindergartner could be interested in that might orientate them towards medicine as an eventual career.
Right. Awesome. Well, Matthew, the one question I always love to end with my guests is for the people who are listening or watching, if there was one thing that you wish more people knew or understood, what would that one thing be for you?
That images matter, and sometimes it's easy to take for granted that everyone feels included in the toys and the images and the movies and just all the things that the world, even the cereal boxes, just everything, and how that might be experienced differently from you when the box looks like you versus the box not looking like you, and what impact that could have, and what a difference we can make when we offer toys to kids that look like them. They can see themselves as the race car driver or the astronaut or pick the thing. So much more connection and genuine engagement when the platform, the toy, the system looks like the person playing with them, and how much that means, and not taking it for granted.
Well, Matthew, I just want to say I absolutely love this project of yours. I think that there is so much potential in this being such a huge thing, not only in just a company wise, but also just in for kids to see themselves, to be celebrated in this light. I can't wait to see where you and your wife continue to take this, and I will be a fan and following the whole way. But I want to tell you thank you for coming on my show, but more importantly, thank you for doing this kind of work for kids, because there aren't enough people like you out there, and I love being able to amplify voices just like yours. So thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed getting a chance to talk about the project and connecting with people that may not already be in the funnel for people that we interacted with. So what a great opportunity to cross over or expand. And
Exactly. Well, and thank you everybody for listening or watching to another episode of Tell Your Story. Remember, you can check out all of my previous episodes on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And remember to join in every week as I find another person to share their story with you in hopes that it inspires you to tell your story, because every story matters. Have a great night, everyone.